You have the skill set with YouTube, and now you're on track to do $200,000 next month.
Yeah. The big thing is we're just very results oriented. We're able to predictably get success. That's exponentially scale the business because it builds trust at scale.
You have time to do a podcast. You're from Tampa, you're in San Diego. How are you not scrounging, like checking Slack all the time?
It's super simple. I've spent like 8 figures on like coaching.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Agency U video, pod, case study, hangout with my dude, Andrew. Andrew, welcome in.
What's up? Happy to be here.
Happy to be seen with you all the way from Tampa, Florida.
Temporarily.
Other side of the world. Moving. He's going to move to San Diego.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Probably should.
Why would you not?
I will.
There's not a lot of reasons not to. Cool, man. Well, thanks for joining. Why don't you just give a quick, I know we've done a case study before. You've been with Agency U, I don't even know how long, year and a half?
Like 2 to 3 years now.
2-3 years, okay. So a lot to share, a lot to unpack. But why don't you just give a quick intro, who you are, what you do, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so Andrew Bayonne, run Impact Media, going through a merger, going to be rebranded as Known Local. We help real estate professionals own their market through media, and that kind of looks in the form of like YouTube, email, newsletters, and a few other stuff, but those are the main two.
Yeah. So heavy YouTube, heavy email. Yeah. Crushing it. A lot of like top agents.
Yeah, usually it's like 30 million to 300 million in sales.
Yeah.
So roughly a 500K to 5 million plus income business.
Nice. So, yeah, pretty solid. And then YouTube helping them basically get clients from YouTube.
Yeah. Our average YouTube channel directly adds about 250K in income for every client. Wow. With some doing 500, 750 and 1.5 a year.
Wow.
Directly from YouTube.
So real estate agents, YouTube, dialed. Cool. How long have you been doing that?
Well, technically I've been doing it for like 7 years. Glorified freelancer for the first 4 to 5 and then building what it is now for the last like 2 to 3. Mm-hmm. And it really didn't kind of blow up to kind of what it is until like the last year.
Yeah. It's been really cool to watch. I remember when I was scaling Braintegic, I would kind of see you and then like with Arjun and kind of just like crossing circles and stuff. So pretty cool to watch you continue to scale and build.
Yeah, we're crossing circles a little bit. And then even when you started Agency U, like the first version of it.
Yeah.
That was where
1.0. Gosh.
Yeah.
It's changed quite a bit, huh? What do you remember from 1.0?
One, it was just you.
Yeah.
There's no Gilberto.
Yeah.
There's no like other coaches. There was really not the same like notion and systems.
Yeah.
It was a little
we
more.
We didn't do the OS.
Yeah, a little more basic. Mm-hmm. I think there's maybe like one weekly call.
Yeah.
Now there's
with
like,
me, right?
Yeah. Now there's multiple.
Yeah. Now there's like 10. Yeah. I remember the OS building that. I remember just grinding for like, I would wake up at 4 a.m. and then I would not sleep until I like would get that done. So I was really happy with that.
There's probably only like 20 to 30 people in it at the time.
Yeah, if that. And I would like talk to them all the time and stuff. So cool, man. Well, let's talk about your agency journey. I think it'll be fun to hit on, like obviously you've been with Agency U for a while. You've been working on your business for a long time. Kind of the journey, because like when we first talked, a lot of it was just you and like, agency owner, scaling, you doing a lot of things. You had the skill set with YouTube. And now like you're on track to do $200,000 next month.
Yeah.
Pretty killer. And that is a different muscle.
That's counting the merge into the business. So it's not like we're just blowing up to 120, 200.
But you've been still on like over 6 figures a month in recurring revenue for the past few months. I remember when you first hit 6 figures in 1 month, you were like, I just don't think it's going to I don't think next month we're going to do that. And then it just seems like it continues to stack and stack every single month.
Well, the first 2 months was mostly just like people who paid in full.
Yeah.
And that's like the first 6-figure month.
Yeah.
It took a little while to actually get recurring 6 figures.
But I don't think it took that long.
Yeah, like 3 months.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 max, but
which is not very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty killer. So that'll be fun to kind of hit on. So why don't we just kind of go back, like when you first started your business to now, maybe let's just hit on like some different pillars, like from offer perspective, where did it start? Like, where is it now? Has there been any revelations along the way that would be helpful to note for people watching this, like that?
Yeah. So was a glorified kind of marketing person for like 3 to 5 real estate teams. and was kind of doing everything. And when you're doing everything, you're kind of stretched thin. You're I was doing social media, I was doing ads, and at the time we weren't really doing editing or anything like that as well. So I was just trying to figure out what was the thing that we should do. And then I kind of found YouTube was one of the best ways we can actually directly impact them. And that's when started to kind of sell more of the YouTube side. But even then I was still wrapping in things with YouTube. And when you have an offer with like multiple things, when you're doing like we're doing 120 YouTube videos a month right now, next month's gonna be close to 200. At that scale, you can't do things really well doing multiple things. So being able to really simplify so you can scale is probably like the one of the biggest things. And then the other thing was bringing Blythe in, who's now kind of like pod leader of pod one, and now we're looking at her either moving to like head of email and running the entire email department, or moving above to manage the leadership of the pods. But when she started, like I remember going to you saying, "Oh, like I don't know if I should pay 3 to 4K a month. It's like a lot of money to like bring her in." And I was paying her more than what like some people would have paid for someone like her, because everyone was like, "Oh, you should just hire someone who's like a little cheaper."
Yeah.
But it's been the best investment in the last like 2 years.
Nice.
Was bring her in early.
Agreed.
So
Yeah. Well, what about like the offer? So maybe talk about the journey of it, and then obviously what's been like the kicker for the last year. Would you say that's allowed you to, get 6-figure months consistently and on track to do $200,000 a month? Is it how you're pricing it? Is it, what's your packaging? Is it getting your clients results? Is it the proof? Like what would you say?
a mix of the above. First, there was simplifying, because we, in for example, the basic core offer used to have like YouTube, email, and like something else, and there was just multiple services inside of one. And realizing that you should sell services separately, you shouldn't bundle. You think you're giving value, but you're actually not giving value because you're not doing any one of the services really well. So when we kind of stripped it down to be the core offer was just YouTube, we can now hire based off of that. So we can have writers, editors, designers, managers, strategists. We have 5 people working on one channel. So now we can raise our prices, and prices doubled on the core offer. So now we can have good talent and we can have a healthy margin on it all by focusing on one thing. And then, yeah, I would say like the big thing is we're just very results oriented. So the fact that we can say on a sales call, the average channel does about 250K in extra income, for them to spend a few $1,000s a month with us is kind of like a no-brainer at that point. And they just refer more people, and it's kind of been a little more organic growth as a result of that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, which is good. So from an offer perspective, are you saying that it's the simplicity that's allowed you to scale because you can actually deliver a better product, or the simplicity that's allowed you to scale because it's clear to the customer, or both?
I would say all the above. Like it's simpler to the customer on like what you do. 2, you can deliver a better product. And then 3, you can raise the prices, which ultimately allows you to deliver a better product because you can hire the team.
Yeah.
So for that as well.
Yeah. Versus doing 10 different things and then trying to figure out 10 different people to do these specific things. If not, like your team is way more, and then it's also a lot more expensive than profitability.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that from like an offer perspective. Talk about like the pricing journey, because I know that's one thing that we talked about quite a bit. And I remember a few conversations where I was like, dude, you are not charging nearly enough. And then we've kind of talked about that, but like where was it then, and where are you now? And then how are you justifying it to customers with, seemingly like an organic offer like YouTube? It takes time from the client, and they have to put a lot of work in, and it's not like paid ads where they have to like, you can buy traffic and guarantee traffic. Like how are you creating a premium product, and what is that premium product, and how have you gotten to that level?
Started at like $1,500 a month, and now it's $4,500 a month. And it wasn't like one big jump. It's like increasing it 10 to 20% like every so often. was like every 5 or so clients, just increasing it a little bit more each time, because it it can feel like a mental hurdle to go from like 1,500 to 3K for the same thing, especially if you don't have the team, the systems, etc. around it. So that's how I justified it, is like incrementally growing it over time. And that allowed us to where we're at now at 4,500 is we we have 5 people on that like YouTube team. So we have a writer, so the clients don't have to write scripts. We have designer for all the thumbnails, editor, a manager, strategist. So it's allowed people to kind of play in their lane and really focus on that one core thing. And when you're delivering any type of service, whether it's social media, ads, etc., if people are playing into different lanes of the service, then they're really not focusing on that thing. Like if a strategist is having to manage the account, then they're not able to focus on like strategy and the growth. And just, I would say, as a result of all of those pieces kind of coming together, and the fact that we just spend a ton of time obsessing about each piece, like the edit, the script, like, and the thumbnail, and the strategy. And we have like weekly meetings across it all. We have like monthly team meetings across those different departments. We're able to predictably get success within like 3 to 6 months and get traction. And then 6 to 12 months, it compounds. And it's just because we review everything on, like, for example, we launched 30 YouTube videos last week. On every single Monday, I still look at all 30 and I'll review why they performed well or didn't. And so that the team can understand that too.
Yeah.
So it's probably just come from a little bit of a level of obsession about the like little things.
Yeah, the product essentially.
Yeah.
So what you've done is you've focused on building a really good product, investing in your product. And because I mean, I think a lot of agencies watching even are like, I'm going to do everything myself, or I'm going to do 10 different things in my business, or I can just scale it myself. But you've taken the, like, basically productizing the one thing that you're good at, and then you put subject matter experts into that thing. And then you've built those subject matter experts to be experts in that. And that's created the value of the product, which gets results for the clients. That's kind of the model that you're thinking of and how you're executing.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you have kind of two options with an agency. Like, you can build for volume, or you can build for like a premium product. And if you build for volume, that's one model. You have to want to play that game. And agencies are just naturally a people game and a hiring game. So that didn't really entice me, because you're just barreling down that one and it's a race to the bottom there. Whereas like going the more premium side helps you it's just more fun, because you can focus more on the creative aspects of it all. So
Okay. So offer. Now let's talk about a little bit about team, because I mean, at 6-figure months, multiple 6-figure months, like, your team looks a lot different than 2 years ago when you first started with Agency U, and just like team in general, and just like posture around business. Like, what are some of the takeaways that you've learned over the past couple of years, just from a team perspective?
So we started with Blythe, who was kind of a client success manager, social media manager. And then we had like one graphic designer, one editor. That was kind of like the core team. And then we started to realize, like, oh, we need writing. And then we're like, oh, like, if I go do sales and Blythe's doing strategy, who's doing management? And so we needed another layer underneath Blythe. And so that's where it kind of morphed into what it is today. And like the way the math works, like team wise, we have 45, give or take, people on the team. That's counting all the creative talent. So writers, editors, designers. And the way the math works is for every 15 to 20 clients in one pod, it takes about 10 to 15 team. And just thinking about it more from a math game now, like I had a call with, basically he was like the CEO of Hampton, Hustle, Motley Fool. And he's just like, you have the math. It's super simple. For you to go from a few million to 10 million, all it takes is 125 clients. Over 2 years, that's 5 clients a month. you just have to figure out how to get the 5 clients a month and how to get the team to manage that 5 clients a month, which I know the numbers for every 10 clients that we bring on, we need this amount of team. And this is how we have to think through hiring that timeline. And now it's just a math equation at this point.
When you say math, are you going off of billable hours? Are you going off of revenue, or what's like the equations that you guys are using?
So I think first you have to learn what does it take to kind of fulfill the service. And for us, it's an editor, a writer, a designer, a manager, and a strategist. And the 3 creative talent, the writer, editor, designer, they're paid per project. So that gives us cost flexibility. So then we're not carrying 5 like salaries all the time. So that's like the first thing is, one, make sure like when you pay everyone that's like, okay, great, we have like top line 60% like
knowing what your cost
gross
is.
profit for the cost of goods sold on the service. So you have, for example, 40% to pay the team. How does that allocate? Great. When you stick within that, okay, that's covered. As long as you don't change pricing, you don't, etc., you at least know that. Then it becomes, if you're going to onboard 3 clients a month, 5 clients a month, there's a ton of agencies who are just like constantly adding clients and they're constantly churning clients, and their drop off is massive. Like the average agency, I think, has 3 to 6 months retention. Ours is like 16 to 18 months. And it's because growing slow and steady is a lot better, in my opinion. But when it comes to like the math part, we know from a math perspective, one pod of 15 to 20 clients needs 10 to 15 team to manage those clients. So if we know, okay, we need 15 team to manage 20 clients, we know the math equation from there, because in that 15, there's a strategist, there's a manager, usually like 3 managers, there's 1 to 2 designers, about 2 writers, 6 editors. So we know the numbers there, and then it's just looking at it on like a monthly, quarterly, yearly. It's like, okay, if we're adding 1, 3, 5, 10 clients a month, how much team do you have to hire to manage that? Because most people just look at the client acquisition, but they don't think of the talent acquisition to actually manage the service, which is the entire agency business. And I was talking to a friend who's doing about 55K a month in revenue, and his head is kind of solely focused on the client acquisition, but he's still stuck in the day-to-day of the business because he's not realizing necessarily exactly what game he's in, which is the people game. And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you realize that, and then once you understand the math of the pieces, the offer, like the team to fulfill the offer, and then you just do the math equation. If we grow at this, what do we have to grow the talent? It's just a math equation.
The easiest way to do that, if somebody's listening, is like take your offer, step by step it out, like write down all the steps, quantify it from like an hourly perspective per role. And then if you have throw 10 clients, okay, how many people are full-time? How many people do you need? All that sort of stuff. And we look at like the billable hours, and like we have like a capacity sheet that we use that really reveals a lot of that stuff. Because I mean, there's been times when we were scaling and, you know, people were like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. And I'm like, I don't know how, because I thought that they were working a specific amount of hours. But really on paper, when we break it down, it's like they're actually working 190 billable hours. And it's like, whoa, like no wonder you're overwhelmed, because it's not actually revealed, because we weren't actually looking at the billable hours. We were just kind of going based off of like, are you at capacity? Like how many more clients could you handle? So it's
and that's like the one thing that like you and agency use helped a ton, is like that reviewing process with the team. Like every few months, for example, the strategist, the manager, you have them, like I have them do like usually like a 2-week log of like, what is the task, who's it for, and then how many hours are spent on it. And they just basically do that for 2 weeks. You can see black and white where they're spending time, where they're wasting time. And we saw that we're like we're spending 40 hours a month on social media for one client.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's like a week of work. For sure. And that's when we were like, oh, we need to pull that out. And we're like, oh, we're spending 1 hour a week to do email, and that can manage 20 to 40 clients. We're like, that's a very scalable offer. It's like when you look at that math, you have the team do it, then you know, oh, an editor can manage 3 clients a week. A writer can manage about like 10 clients a month. A graphic designer can manage 15 to 20 clients. A manager can manage about 10, and for us, a strategist can manage about like 15 to 20. When you have them kind of log, see what the tasks are using like the capacity sheet and stuff like that, that's like the one thing that you've been big on is like, hey, just go back, review where are people wasting their time, and then you can decide how you want to change up what you're doing
Yeah.
based off of that.
Yeah. Do you remove it? Do you train people better? All that sort of stuff. Because I think it's easy to get frustrated at people because they're not working as hard as you, or they're not maybe getting the output. But if you don't know what they're actually doing and you're not training them on how to do the proper output,
that's
it's your fault.
Like, especially as like a leader, you think like a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but it's very natural to lean towards like, oh, they're just not working or they're just not doing anything. And you don't even realize that they're spending 10 hours a week on admin.
Yeah.
Another 10 hours a week communicating with clients. And then another 10 hours doing X, Y, or Z, uploading files. Oh, they really only have 10 hours where they're actually doing work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you just don't know because you didn't look at the numbers ultimately.
Totally. Yeah, I think especially at scale and when you have a lot of people, it's really hard to like manage that and kind of look at it from that point of view of just like every single hour is actually money that's costing the business, and that needs to be quantified somewhere, whether that's from the profit or from a billable hour. But if we're not quantifying it, then you're going to have like a aha moment, and it could be too late because then you're like either need to hire people and you can't afford to hire people, or just be kind of trapped in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest, like, I'm good with numbers, but I'm not like the best with like accounting and finances. And like one thing that learned from like you and agency U is basically as long as you look at, you can understand all the nuts and bolts of the P&L, but you just have to know like 2 things. What's your cost of goods sold, gross profit? If it's 60%, you're generally good. And then net profit, if you're somewhere in between 30%, you're great. Within those numbers, those are like your goals and your targets. Obviously, in terms of growth, that changes and then it goes up and down, but it's like you want to try to use those as like baselines.
Yeah, I think the cost of goods sold sneaks up on a lot of agencies, especially like yours, where there's so many people in order to do it. So it takes a lot of time. I kind of want to also dive into like, hey, you have a lot of people on the team. How are you not right now answering emails and needing to like go check on stuff right now? Like you have time to do a podcast. You're from Tampa. You're in San Diego. Like I picked you up. You're pretty relaxed. Like you're just hanging out in the studio, took a call. Like how are you not scrounging, like checking Slack all the time and doing all that stuff? Tell us more about that.
First, kind of like mentioned, didn't start like this. Had 4 people on the team. Now we have 45, and it's been 2 years. So there's a little time in between there and a lot of like ups and downs. And yeah, there's late nights. Like I inbox 0 my email. I inbox Slack 0. Like I'm that fanatical about like making sure the clients are being managed. But at the scale, yeah, now that we have people like Blythe, who's managing pod 1, Nuriel, who's managing pod 2, Clayton, who's going to come in as kind of like CEO of YouTube. And then we have like a media manager who manages the entire media team. Now we have a senior editor, we're hiring a lead designer, senior writer. Each person is managing 3 to 10 people underneath them. And when you put those like layers of leadership and you start to delegate like communication, you delegate meetings, you start to get them more on board with that, you can remove yourself from some of those things. Because ultimately, like the big thing is like communication in the inbox is like one of the biggest things that was move most of that into more of a team inbox, have the team manage that, have the whole team and most of the clients in Slack. And then you have 3 to 5 team members in that Slack channel. They can look and manage those clients. And you basically give the team at bats at new things. Like, for example, Blythe didn't run strategy calls probably for first year or so. That was probably too slow for me. Whereas like Nuriel came on board in pod 2, and within 3 months he was starting to run strategy calls. So over time you start to be okay with delegating some of those things quicker, and you have to. But yeah, it's more of a mix of a lot of things than it is probably one thing.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people probably watching this are like, oh, I want to scale. I want to hit $100,000 per month. I want to do all this kind of stuff in my business, but they struggle with delegating and getting stuff off their plate. Like, has that been hard for you? Is it like what was like a revelation from your point of view? Because now not only have you delegated tasks, but you've delegated like decisions. It sounds like, and like high level stuff.
I probably wouldn't say I don't know. Maybe there were times where I was like a little hesitant to delegate, and I don't think of that. Like, for example, the strategy calls, I didn't really think about that until recently. Like, oh, I was running most of them and Blythe wasn't. There are definitely things like that where you think you know it, but like, as an example, I know Blythe can have conversations with clients, and she can have that without me. She basically became a mini me at this point, where like I know she'll basically say a very similar thing to I'll say.
But like, how did she get to that point?
So you just have to integrate them with like everything. So it's like the same way you would bring in an EA and they're in your inbox, they're in your Slack channel, they're on your meetings. Same thing with like your client success manager, whatever you label it, client success manager, pod leader, creative strategist, whatever that person is. There's a framework for like I do, we do, you do. So it's like first I do something, and the way I do that is through a Loom video, and I show here's how I do it, what I do, we do it. So they do it and I review it, and then they do it by themselves, and you just kind of like oversee it. Never too far too removed, but it's a mix of that and then also just getting them involved with everything, especially if they're communicating with clients. The more they see you communicate, the more they're going to talk like you with the client too.
Yeah, makes sense. So you would say leadership is caught, not taught?
Yeah,
I can agree with that. Yeah. Okay, so for somebody watching this, if they're like, hey, Andrew, like I want to scale to $100,000 a month too, like what would you say to those people based off of like what you've been able to learn?
Yes, selfless plug is if you want to scale fast, have someone who's done it before, and they'll shorten the timeline. But besides that, the way to kind of think about it is like you have to look at your offer first, and is it scalable? And the first question, is it simple? And that's the first thing, because the minute it's complicated with multiple things, it's not scalable and you're not going to be able to scale. Or if you are, you're going to like brute force your way up. And we kind of did a little of that, and it's tough. You
got to backtrack.
Yeah. You get a lot of wrong fit clients. You get clients who churn. You take on more work. And the worst part as a leader is the team takes on more work. It's like, and they're doing more things, and sometimes you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, wow, they're spending a lot of time on this. And it's like, that's my fault. I sold them into that.
Totally. Yeah.
So simplify your offer, make it scalable, focus on like one service. Alex Ramosi talked about it, and I think it's 100% true. If you're not at $1 million a year in revenue, it's like one offer, one client, one something. And it's just keep it super simple.
Yeah.
That is like the 80-20 of everything. It's like you can do all these other things. Like I can tell you about organic marketing, I can tell you about paid marketing.
Yeah.
But none of that really matters if you don't fix the offer and make it scalable first.
Scale it, solve a problem, simplify it. What about for those who watching this? Because a lot of people watch these, maybe have like booked a call with Agency U, and you've been with us for a long time. Obviously, we're in person. Like, what would you say to those people who are maybe on the fence or like skeptical, or like, is coaching legit? Is Agency U legit? Is this something that I should even consider? Like, what would you say to those people?
When it comes to the information education space, vet the person. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you have to see, like, do I like them? Do I trust them? Like, is it someone I want to work with? That's like one of the big things. If you say yes, you're like, okay, cool, they're vetted, and you're hesitant on pulling the trigger, then a lot of the times it comes down to your own fear of, like, I heard this and it's so true. It's like, ultimately at the end of the day, if you're not willing to kind of do something that's investing in yourself, you're more so doubting yourself than the other person. So if you're not willing to put the money up and say, I'm willing to do the work, then you either think you won't do the work, can't do the work. There's some limiting belief around that. Because at the end of the day, the money that I've spent on like coaching, I've spent like 8 figures on like a short
8 figures?
or not 8 figures,
Oh my God.
5 figures, on like one small, like this thing, and then
Yeah.
like 10K here, 15K here. And it's just eventually that becomes the fastest way to grow is learning from someone else who's done what you want to do before.
Yeah.
Like I paid, for example, right before this, like $750 for a 30-minute call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like people don't want to spend X amount for a month.
Yeah.
And all of the things that come in between it. It's like, that is the fastest way to grow is through other people.
Yeah. Facts.
So,
Yeah. And is agency a scam?
no.
Okay. Just need to get that.
No,
out there.
you're like, I like to think I do a lot of probably more due diligence than most. And like, I'll kind of watch from the outside and make sure it's like, okay, cool. And like, you're someone I was like, I want to be connected to you. You've built an agency to $4 million a year. You're a good guy. Like, it's not just about the agency. Like, you have outside life, you have health hobbies. Like, there's a lot of like personally good stuff too that are not just the business. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that I've kind of come to learn recently is if you look at two people and you want to find someone who you want to model in life, a lot of people look at like Elon Musk and there's absolutely nothing to say at a business regard. Like, he's an insane animal. Like, he's amazing at business. But if you ask, do you want his personal life?
Yeah.
A lot of people will say no.
4 baby mamas, like works all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you look at someone like Mark Zuckerberg, same thing, similar business, probably just as big, but he's been married to his high school sweetheart. And you're like, would I want his life? You're like, probably.
Yeah.
In some regard. So that I would say that's like the biggest thing that I've even looked for is like, do I want this person's life? And if I can say yes, then I'll pay for their time.
Yeah. Dope. Love it. Anything else that would be helpful for people watching?
I would say the biggest thing that's helped us besides the offer, the results and stuff like that is brand. Has been like the one play that I think I've done that very few agencies actually do. I've invested the time, the money, the energy to build brand through content, podcasts, the newsletter, and that's exponentially scaled the business because it builds trust at scale. Like, I can, for example, every time I do a podcast, I can say it's worth $9,000 to the business. I can, on a low end, say the podcast itself has brought in, based off of clients, referrals, etc., somewhere north of $600,000 to $800,000 a year in revenue. It's been one of the best networking, and a lot of agencies spend a lot of time on like outbound, paid, etc. And you know best that like I kind of try to go a little bit the other way, and sometimes in a little more stubborn.
Well, when you're dealing with a client who is pretty niche, right, of like doing $30 million plus per year in sales, it's like they gotta trust you, because that's their clients, what their clients expect of them too, and which is why they invest in you, is because they need YouTube to build trust. So,
yeah, and
makes sense.
It's kind of like the whole like fitness coach analogy. It's like, do you want someone who's like fat or fit to be your fitness coach?
Yeah, right.
And so like having your own brand is one, and it just builds trust at scale ultimately.
Andrew, thank you, sir, for hopping on doing this. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Keep
it.
crushing it.